Welcome to Herbal Expeditions, where we explore all things gardening, herbs, and aromatherapy.
Good evening and cheers. Welcome to Herbal Expeditions. Before we get started, I'd like to give a huge thank you to our sponsors, Word on the Street. Thank you so much for having us today so that we can share this new and exciting show. Tonight's title is Blueberry Basil Bliss, Cultivating Your Herbal Palate. One of the things that I'm very serious about is to get your taste buds activated to crave the herbs that we grow. So in honor of that, tonight we're going to be talking a little bit more about basil. As you know, we've been covering basil all month long. I'm going to give you an update on how my plants are growing, how the basil plants are proceeding. But before we get into any of that, I'd like to give my standard disclaimer. I am not a licensed healthcare professional. Information you receive here is for informational purposes only. On this channel, we do not treat, cure, or diagnose. You are strongly encouraged to do your own research on the topics discussed here. And after all, this is an herbal expedition, and it is the expectation that you do some research as you're learning and as we're growing together as a community. As always, you're advised to discuss any new herbal regimen with your doctor, especially if you are pregnant, nursing, or taking any prescription medication. So let's get this party started with our Herbal Fun Fact. In traditional medicine, basil is used for its potential benefits of antimicrobial properties and the ability to aid in digestion. Last week, we talked about basil from a medical perspective, and some of the things that we discovered is that basil has linalool, which is a very relaxing constituent that adds a floral note to the fragrance of basil, as well as a fruity or floral taste to the basil. Linalool makes basil relaxing and mildly sedative. Myself personally, it does not have a sedative effect on me, but it is relaxing. It does contain vitamins A, B2, C, iron, magnesium, potassium, as well as calcium. The energetics are it is considered to be a warm and drying, and the taste of basil is considered to be sweet. In fact, the basil that we're studying is sweet basil. As always, all this month, I've given you a little bit of a review of the plants, and as you can see, it's growing. In fact, I think it was the first week I pruned this plant down here, and you can see more leaves are starting to sprout out, and it's starting to bush out more. By the end of the month, these plants definitely will be ready for transplant. Here is another of the plants that is really growing and starting to put out more leaves, and it really smells just fantastic in here as I'm sitting here and preparing. This one doesn't have quite as many leaves as the other, but I see quite a few itty bitty baby leaves. I don't know if the camera picks those up, but there's quite a few itty bitty baby leaves that I see coming out. This one is quite full. It has actually 4 different stems that are coming up out of this particular plant. So this one is growing. While it's not as tall as the others, it is full and bushing out. Let's see. This one is the one that is really growing. The leaves are really big, as you can see in there now. They have very nice color in the leaves, great scent. And then last but not least, we have this plant. I have 6 basil plants. I started with 6 seeds, and all 6 of them are proceeding quite nicely. These actually, I could put them out into the garden now, but I am choosing to hang on a little bit longer because I like you to see how fast the plant grows. And over this month, we've been looking at them, and you can see that they have grown quite a bit. So in tonight's show, we're talking about basil blueberry bliss. I created a spa water that I really enjoy. There's this restaurant here that's local that's called Salad and Go. It's actually a drive-through where you pick up salads, and they have the most delicious basil lemonade, and it has blueberries and it is really delicious. So that was my inspiration when I created this. We're going to go and watch the video, and then I'll come back and tell you more about this refreshing drink. Enjoy the video.
Hi, and welcome to Herbal Expeditions, where we explore all things gardening, herbs, and aromatherapy. Well, nothing says summer like basil. So today I have a recipe that I've kind of created a drink with using basil. And my inspiration for this was basil lemonade that I like to get at Salad and Go. And I thought, I'm trying to cut sugar out of my diet, so much sugar out of my diet, so I'll do a fresca. So it's going to be a flavored water that I'll share with you. The ingredients for today's fresca will be a fresh lemon. Please try to get organic lemon if you can. Ginger, blueberries, of course basil, which is the star of the show, and I have some spring water. So we're going to get started with today's recipe. The first thing that I'm going to do will be so I've gotten some frozen organic blueberries that I am going to, didn't think about it, but I probably should have put on an apron dealing with blueberries because I do not want berries all over my white shirt. But we're going to get some berries in here. And I'd say that I'm probably going to use somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 cup. I'm using an infusion basket that goes with this cup that I'll be using today. So anything that has infusion basket will do. So there we have our blueberries. The next thing I'm going to do, because I want to make sure that my basil is well infused, is go ahead and get my basil. So I have a sprig of basil here. It has about 2, 4, 6, probably about 6, maybe 8 leaves on it. And so I am going to go ahead and take the basil from the stem, from the main stem. And what I'm going to do is tear the basil so that it can start to release its volatile oils, which will be where that basil flavor will come from. And when you're picking your basil, you really it would be optimal to do it in the morning time before the sun gets really hot, because of the volatile oils. We want to get as much bang as for our buck as we can by picking the basil when it's optimal as far as the volatile oils are concerned. So I'm just kind of tearing this basil. So getting the basil put in, and one of the habits that I'm trying to create is one of drinking, number one, more water, but secondly, getting rid of that sweet tooth and so much of the processed sugar, cane sugar. So what I've done today is I've gotten a sprig of stevia from my garden, from my tea, what I call my teapot, where I have all of my tea herbs. And so I've grown stevia this year to include in my tea as opposed to using the cane sugar that's been processed. If I want a little touch of sweetness, I'm going to add stevia. So I'm adding these fresh stevia leaves in, maybe 2 more. I always love smelling my herbs when I'm using them. The next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and get our lemon processed. And like I was saying earlier, if you're able to, try to get an organic lemon, because citrus plants are so heavily sprayed that it would be better to use an organic lemon to ensure that it's not sprayed with a lot of pesticides and herbicides and that kind of thing. So I've done a couple of slices of lemon. I really like the flavor of lemon, it's so fresh. And then last but not least, we're gonna go ahead and get our ginger going. And ginger is a really good stimulator. It helps things move in your body. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this processed. What I'll do first is use the back of my spoon to kind of peel some of the skin off of the ginger before I put it into the drink. Ginger has a very strong flavor, so I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of it. I really debated on whether or not I wanted to use the ginger or some cinnamon, because I think both flavors would have paired nicely in this, but I decided to go with the ginger. One of the reasons is because we are studying Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs a Beginner's Guide, and one of the herbs that she mentions is ginger. And so I thought, since we've been studying about ginger, go ahead and give ginger a try in this recipe. I know that this is not going to taste exactly like the lemonade that I get at Salad and Go, but I thought that that was a really good inspiration. So I'm just kind of creating this as I go along. I kind of gave it some thought, and these were the ingredients that I concluded that I would like. So I have a microplane here. I'm going to take the microplane and I will grate some ginger down into this basket. So I just finished grating the ginger. There's still a lot caught on the back of the microplane, so I'm just going to kind of tap this so that it comes out and we get the benefit of all that flavor in our drink. And I will screw on the top, insert it into our drink. Turn this. Go ahead, and I bought some spring water. And the reason I've chosen spring water is because this was spring water that was bottled at the source. And from my understanding, that is supposed to be a little bit better for us. It contains more of the minerals. I'm going to go ahead and pour this over my herbs. It's taking on the color of the blueberries already. I smell the lemon. I can smell the ginger. I'm really looking forward to trying this drink. I think that these herbs will need some time to infuse my water. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and put the top on. I'm sure it's going to take some time before the flavors start to meld and gel and come together. So let's give it a taste and see how it is. I know that I'll need to give these herbs some time to infuse or come together, so we'll do a preliminary taste test. It is very good. The ginger is quite strong. I think that if I did this drink again, I would not put as much ginger because it has quite a kick. I taste a little bit of the lemon, but the taste of the berries is not quite shining through, or the basil. So I'm going to sit this in the fridge, let it infuse for a while, and I'll bring you back for a final review. Well, it's been about 24 hours since I started my Basil Blueberry Bliss, this spa water that I created. So I've noticed some things about my first recipe. It was really very strong, and I came in really heavy on the ginger. So I made another thing of it that is a little bit different. This is infused about 24 hours, but the ginger was extremely strong. So when I made a second batch of it, on this one I put a little bit more basil leaves, about the same amount of stevia. I continued with the ginger, but I put less ginger and I didn't grate it because, you know, anytime you grate something, there is a lot of surface area, and so the more surface area, the more of the constituents are being released. So this time, instead of grating my ginger, I decided to slice it, and the ginger isn't as strong. It's a little bit more tamed flavor. So I decided that that would be a better route to go. I still have lemon, about the same amount of lemon that I used earlier, and the taste is really delicious. The floral notes of the basil are really shining through, and the stevia, I can taste just a very hint of sweetness. It's not really sweet. So all in all, I would give this 5 out of 5 stars. This one was a little bit strong, but coming back with the revisions that I've made has really made it a very nice and refreshing drink. I sure hope that you would try this. If you should have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'm always happy to answer questions. If there's anyone that you think would enjoy this recipe, who really loves blueberry or really likes the flavor of basil, this would be a perfect recipe. So please share that video with them so that they can have the opportunity to make this creation. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.
All right. I hope you enjoyed seeing that video. Doing the second batch of the second go round, there were some things that I was very specific about. One of the things was I made sure that I put the basil and the stevia leaves in first, and I think that that helped it to be able to release more of its flavor because it wasn't like at the top. So I think it infused into the water a little bit better. I did about the same amount of the blueberries. After it had sat for 24 hours, the taste of the blueberries did shine through, and it really was more reminiscent of the lemonade that inspired this recipe. And the ginger, like I said, was not as strong. It was a more tamed flavor when I chose to slice the ginger as opposed to grating it. But let's get into talking about the recipe. I use spring water. The reason spring water was chosen because it is mineral rich. It has a natural balance of minerals such as calcium, magnesium, potassium, which can contribute to your overall health and hydration. Mouthful. Also, mineral spring water is pure. The water is typically sourced from underground springs and aquifers, where it is naturally filtered through layers of rock and soil. This filtration process can help remove impurities and contaminants, resulting in a cleaner and a purer water source. And the taste, you can taste the natural minerals, and the content can enhance the flavor without the need of additives or processing. Spring water also provides hydration and essential minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and potassium. Let's get into the basil. It contains compounds with anti-inflammatory as well as antibacterial properties, potentially supporting your immune function as well as digestion. And remember that basil also contains vitamins, iron, magnesium, potassium, and calcium. And those two things together, the water has some magnesium, potassium, and calcium, as well as the basil. So it's like having a double batch of that. Then your blueberries are very rich in antioxidants. It has vitamin C and vitamin K, fiber. All that may help improve your cognitive function as well as your digestion. And then the stevia. The stevia really does not have a whole lot of mineral content or vitamins. However, it provides the sweetness without adding carbohydrates, and it has 0 calories, which is really great, and it's not a real sweet taste, but you can taste it in the back. Um, Also, stevia is a good choice for those seeking to reduce sugar intake or manage conditions such as diabetes or obesity. Then we have the lemon slices. The lemons, as you know, are packed with vitamin C, and they have a chemical constituent called limonene. Limonene, excuse me. Lemon boosts the immune system, and it aids in digestion as well. And then there's ginger. Ginger is revered for its anti-inflammatory as well as digesting properties. It may help alleviate nausea or support your overall gut health. Ginger stimulates the production of digestive enzymes and bile, which helps your digestive system. Ginger also improves circulation by dilating your blood vessels and increasing blood flow, which can potentially enhance oxygen delivery to tissues and organs. Ginger also contains antioxidants and antimicrobial compounds that may help strengthen the immune system and protect against infections. This really turned out to be a fantastic recipe. I really wish that you guys would try it. It is so good. I wish that you could taste it. In fact, when I was coming on the show tonight, my granddaughter said, Nana, I want to taste some of that. I hope you have some left when you finish with the show. I think that this would really be a fantastic beverage to have in the morning to break your fast when you first get up. I try to drink water, but to have this in the morning, it is a very refreshing drink. It's not too sweet, and it really will help get your digestive system flowing and just get you hydrated and ready for your day. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm so happy for those of you who have chosen to tune in with me. I see Miss Selena Bronson is in the chat. I thank you so much for tuning in to us tonight. I hope that you get a chance to try this and come back and let us know in the comments whether or not you liked it and what you thought about the recipe. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you next Thursday.